Hello, everybody, and welcome back to From BA to Broadway. It is me, indeed, Mr. Brennan Stefanik, and today I am joined by the ever-lovely Mr. Mathieu Whitman. What's going on, Matt?
Hello, Brennan. Thanks for having me.
Literally my pleasure. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone, from our 1 week break. I had a very relaxing week, and I am back as tan as ever. Wouldn't you agree?
So tan.
Thank you.
You look like a Kardashian.
Oh my God, really paint that picture for everyone. Matt, who are you and what the heck do you do?
Who am I? 24601.
Wow.
I am an actor, multi-hyphenate, director, blah, 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 blah. And I work also as the managing director for actor therapy here in the city.
Indeed you do, which is how we met.
Yes, it is how we met.
And I feel like our paths probably would have crossed very soon anyways if I hadn't done it, but...
Well, the Rhode Island connection.
It's the Rhode Island connection.
That's
I still can't believe that. In good old tiny state that
Small
was.
state, but you'll know every person you have ever met in your life.
That's exactly right.
For the rest of your life.
Yeah, man. Matt, do you have a degree in theater?
I do. I have a BFA in drama, hashtag, from NYU.
Oh my God, amazing. Okay, so folks, today we are talking about your book. And we've mentioned it a bunch in passing throughout the past episodes, but today we're going through the nitty gritty of how to fill that little binder of yours, you know? Would you say that you were taught how to build a book properly in college?
I was taught how to build a book properly in college. I think for my book, the problem was that I was still figuring out who I was in college, which I think happens to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So like I knew what was supposed to be in the book, but I didn't know how to like put myself into the book.
Understood.
That was where I left college feeling.
Love that.
Yeah.
I think, well, I didn't have a musical theater program, so like they didn't teach me about that. So going out of it, I first learned that I needed to have a book. And then all I did was I just took every sheet music of things that I've sung and I just put it into a binder and called that my book.
That does tend to be the way.
It was an interesting binder of paper, let me tell you.
Yep.
But we live and we learn, folks.
Yes, we do. Like Alana said.
Yeah. First and foremost, just because you've sung it doesn't need to go in your book. I think that's a great way to start. But yeah, so we're jumping in. We're filling that thing. We got a bunch of categories. What are some of those?
Well,
let's lay it out for the people.
Well, all right. There's some pretty standard ones that everyone wants to have because they're the things that they ask for in the casting breakdowns.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to want your like up-tempo and your ballads for a couple of different genres, one of them being contemporary musical theater.
Of course.
It is the bulk of what is being made these days.
Sure.
And then especially if you're someone who gravitates towards the classic stuff, the golden age, all of that good stuff, you're going to want an up-tempo and a ballad for those as well. Those are like the four sort of like, if you're doing musical theater, we need this.
Exactly. Those are already on the tool belt when you get it. Like that's what comes with it for sure.
It. And theoretically, your up-tempo, classic, and like contemporary should make some sense of where you belong in the story, in the picture, in the world of what we're doing. So it just shows like what you do and what you bring to the table and what your personality is like when you're up there telling a story.
That's exactly right. And like that's also, once again, that's just really hard to figure out, especially when you're like just graduating, especially like if you're coming out of high school and not going to college or coming out of college in general. It is just one heck of a time.
Yeah. And you're still like exploring and deciding who I am and what I do and what I love and all of this. And, you know, not doing it just to impress your parents or your teachers or the cool kids. And so it's hard to figure out like, what do I bring to the table that I feel confident about?
And we talked about type and typecasting the last episode and how that kind of comes into play, but also like, especially when you're just finding yourself, how like it can be so jarring when you might actually feel confident about something and someone's like, I don't know about that, you know?
Yeah.
But once again, folks, you know yourself, so let them know it.
Yeah.
Who cares?
That's it. No one knows you better than you.
That's exactly right. So yeah, we're going up. We got that good old classical quote unquote. We hear the word legit a lot lately. What would you give to that? What's your 2 cents on that?
What is legit? I mean, a lot of people are trained in sort of classical vocal styles or things like, the traditional sort of ways of doing things. And that has a lot to do with what we call legit in terms of the sound, the open vowels and all of that, the operatic, blah, blah, blah. But inevitably, you're going to sort of get lost if you're trying to like think too much about that versus this. And ultimately, like, we're doing productions of Oklahoma where everyone is singing like basically country music and, running around the stage.
Yeah.
Not at all singing like Shirley Jones did in the movie.
Times are a change.
So you have to sort of, decide if that's what you do, if that's your ministry. Great. Have some like gorgeous, if I loved you, that's going to show off how brilliantly trained you were. But if you're, just someone who, I belong in classical music theater, but I don't necessarily sound like one of those people on the album from 1940.
For sure.
That's fine too. You just find the song that allows your voice and your personality to do the thing.
That's exactly right.
And there's not a place for everyone in every show, and that's okay. There are some people who need to be going in for every production of The Secret Garden because they give dead ghost soprano. And like, that's... If you do that beautifully and wonderfully, God bless, then that's amazing.
You live your dead ghost soprano life.
You need that dead ghost soprano. But if that's not what you do, then you don't need that.
No.
Yeah.
I think I especially found, like, I had a hard time figuring out where I fit into classical musical. Even like now, I still feel like I have a hard time figuring out where I feel like the classical musical theater repertoire and stuff. But it's just about... Once again, I say this all the time and it's so important, but it's about who you are. Like, it's about the characters. It's about the vocal ranges. Just like, feel what fits. Don't feel like you need to emulate everything that you hear because things are so different.
I mean, even, stick with Oklahoma because it sort of everyone knows it. If you're not the big like lyric baritone, then look, Will Parker, he doesn't sing like that.
Yeah.
Look at his stuff. And that's...
Yeah. So yeah, folks, I mean, don't sweat it. At the end of the day, don't sweat it. This book is important, but it is just a reflection of you and who you are and what you bring to the table.
Exactly.
So yeah, classical, it's a wild time and you'll figure it out, folks. You will. Contemporary, on the other hand, we're living it. We sure are.
We sure are.
And it's a tenor's world, baby.
It do be a tenor's world. The thing is, though, like, we're getting into a place where people are willing to change keys, not only because, there are people on different journeys with their gender and all of that, but because we're sort of getting to this place of like, 8 shows a week is not sustainable if we have people shouting at the very top of their range for 3 hours.
For sure.
And we're all sort of having to get on that like slow train to that world together. But, find something that works for you. You don't have to do the song where the entire end is like at the exact highest note you've ever hit that has ever come out of your mouth.
Yeah.
And it's not impressive if you're trying to do that at 11 in the morning.
Yeah.
And you're sort of doing it.
These people just woke up, folks. They just woke up and you're screaming at them.
Some of these rooms are not that big. Like, if you've been in those little corner rooms at Ripley Greer, like, these people do not want to be shouted at from 4 feet away. So you don't have to like worry about, can I sing high enough to do this? Yes, there is material out there. You just have to find it. You have to find, a performer or a writer who speaks to sort of what you do or what you've found yourself gravitating towards. And then go down those rabbit holes and find the things that they've done.
Yeah.
Because, if they're singing, high Q sharps, like in one song, they're probably going to be doing that a lot. But if they're not doing that, then go look at what else they've done and find the stuff that's written for them and their range.
Who are some of those people for you personally?
The Q Sharps people, or
just the people you relate to and you find their material?
Oh my goodness! So, Josh Lehman is someone.
Okay.
If anyone has seen The Prom, or a number of other Broadway shows, he is genius. And he can sing the phone book, but a lot of the stuff that he works on comes from a place of humor and heart. And, sure, he'll throw in a high note if he wants, but is that even in the sheet music, or is that just Josh being Josh? Because, so people like that, Brooks Ashmanskis, who was in The Prom, doesn't sing that, that high, but is still in a like pingy tenor. I fit in the world of contemporary musical theater. Jason Robert Brown writes for, but isn't asking him to give himself vocal damage every time he opens his mouth.
For sure.
So I look for the things like that, where it's more about the heart, the humor, a little bit of sass, because that comes with the territory here.
For sure.
For me. And
I don't know. Also, all you baritone boys out there, stop sweating right now. I promise it's going to be okay. I'm right there with you. I'm rowing this boat. We're all in it together. But like, there's stuff. There is stuff. You just got to find it. Also, once again, we can change those keys. It's okay. Absolutely. It really is. Granted, I will say not every summer stock theater is going to be out there wanting to do that, because then it gets a little pricey. But like in the places where you're really going to find yourself and really thrive like that, it's going to happen for you. So knock it off. Stop worrying. Contemporary, I don't know. It's hard because I feel like, especially vocally, I haven't seen a whole lot of like what I do on Broadway. But as of recently, I do see the train rolling more in that direction, which is just nice.
Yeah.
It's just nice.
You got to look at like the Dave Malloys or like the David Yazbeks, or like the people who are writing more for character than they are writing for like, how impressive can I make this sound? Like, how showy can I make this?
That's exactly right.
How, like, how is Jeremy Jordan going to blow the roof off the theater if I don't let him,
that's
sing
true.
up here the whole time?
Exactly.
So, and there are those people. You just have to look for them.
And also, like, I don't know, I find it way easier to connect with those kinds of roles. Yeah. And like, when you think about it, you have how many people coming to New York City, tourists galore. There's got to be some characters out there for the dads to enjoy when they're sitting in that show that their family dragged them to,
100%.
And that's a great place to be, folks. It's a great place to be that role, that person.
100%.
I'm very grateful for that. I always find it interesting, like what I try to choose for when my parents come to the city to see. And there was one time where they came up for my birthday last year, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take them to see The Play That Goes Wrong. I think my dad's going to love that. I've seen that show like 8 times already. I love it to death. And to this day, no matter what show he sees, he goes, that was good, but there's no play that goes wrong. I'm like, oh, that's the ticket, folks. That's the ticket for the dads.
Is your dad from Rhode Island?
He sure is.
Yeah. So my mom, funny enough, it's sort of the opposite end. She, for whatever reason, like her show will always be Les Mis.
Whoa.
It's like she wants everyone to be like dead on the floor by the end of Act 2. And like she loves the melodrama, dark, Jekyll and Hyde. Like half the cast needs to have died, or she's not walking out of the theater happy.
Wow.
And it makes no sense to me. But
I mean,
so I'm always like, okay, so yeah, what's the most dramatic thing we're gonna find?
Did you have like a very artistic upbringing?
Oh gosh, yeah. My mom, well, I think early on realized that I was always just running around singing, dancing. Like it was like, we need to do something with this, or it's gonna get weird. So I went to like kids theater camp, like as soon as I realized that was something I wanted to do. So I was like doing, youth theater and all of that, like from the age of like 9. So it just became part of that. And then the thing about Rhode Island is, as small as it is, it does have like a beautiful art scene.
Oh yeah.
We have Trinity Repertory Company, which is, the resident,
love them,
like Equity Theater House right downtown. We have a huge touring house, even though we're so close to Boston, we still have our own. So I that was it. I got to see A Christmas Carol at Trinity Rep when I was a kid. And I was like, that's amazing. And
Yeah.
there's a woman playing Scrooge because, you know,
Mhm.
they get, you know, they do all kinds of stuff. So it sort of opened my mind to the idea that you on stage can do things that they're not going to do in movies.
Mhm.
You know, in movies, it's like, does this person look like this person's child? And, you know, all of that. Whereas on stage, they're like, this 50-year-old woman can be Ebenezer Scrooge, and anyone can be any size and any
Yeah,
color, and we can
exactly.
do whatever we want, because we all have imaginations.
Mhm.
And then the first tour, just because it was like what was coming through after I started getting into theater, was Dreamgirls. Like, that was my show, which says a lot about me. Like, the first national tour I got to see at PPAC in Providence.
That's amazing.
And I was just like, I'm obsessed with this. Let's keep doing this. And my mom was like, well, you're not going to do Dreamgirls, but we can get you in other things.
I'm happy that she recognized that for you.
She did get that. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, what a wild time. I love that.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, Rhode Island's a weird place, folks, but we got some gems in there for sure. Anywho, building your book.
Building our book.
This was the first stop on the tangent train. So we got our contemporary going up, we're going down. For both contemporary and classical, how many songs would you say of each?
I'm in the business, and you can probably blame or thank Ryan Scott Oliver and Lindsay Mendez for implanting this in my head. But I'm in this business of thinking, like, we don't need to carry around the Magna Carta, and we're trying to bring our book to auditions.
What is the Magna Carta?
I actually said that, but it might have not even been a book. I know it was like a written document from a long time ago.
I love that.
But point being, the 10 Commandments. You know, we don't need to be bringing like a tome into the room. So I think your best bet is to really find like something versatile that you can use for every genre, and there are songs where you can either just take the tempo a little faster, or take the tempo a little slower, or just adjust the take you're giving it, the tone, the way in which you're approaching. Like, am I in a tiny intimate space, or am I singing for the balcony of the palace? And that's the song that's going to get you the most mileage, because you know it really well, you do it well, you feel super confident, and you're just going to sort of adjust the dials. So I say, like, get your one up-tempo that you can use for as much as you can, and your one ballad. Most of the time, you're not bringing your ballad as your first song, because that's not what they're asking for. But if they're asking to hear a ballad, all they want to see is that you can give them something different from what you did give, which was either your up-tempo or your funny song, or They just want to see, like, can I stand and be chill and tell a story?
Yeah.
So you don't need 17 ballads that do that. You just need one that accomplishes the goal. Like, don't try to do more than what they're asking for.
No. Yeah. Also, like, I found that the more I take out of my book, the easier things feel, because I would be one to be sitting in that holding room, like, peeling through everything and, like, trying to find the absolute perfect thing that translates 100% the best. And now I'm just like, oh, I'm going to sing this one because it's the only one. It's the only one there. And
it's the one, and I know it's going to go well. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, folks, I mean, thin out that thing, you don't need everything in there, and it's just going to make your life easier. And, like, I know, especially when you're going for that one role, like, you want to be as specific as possible, but don't sweat it.
The point at which most of us are in our careers, we're, getting our feet in the doors. We're meeting these casting folks for the first time or the second time. We're not, it's not like we're in our 8th callback for Elphaba, and that, like, and they need to see something that they haven't seen from us. They just want to get to know us. Like, and their job is to figure out where we belong in the story. We're not there to do their job for them.
Yeah.
We don't get paid as much as casting directors.
Also that.
We don't get paid anything from auditions. So it's like, let them do their job. Let them have an imagination. Let them figure it out. Just show them who you are.
Yeah.
You don't get points. Like, there's no extra credit for being like, look at how clever I was.
Literally.
Look at how, like, so perfect. Like, this was the perfect song for Model the Tailor because I talked about sewing.
They're like, I'm going to stop you right there. That's brilliant.
It doesn't happen. Really.
No.
You know what I mean? Every once in a while, there's like that one story of like, you know, I brought in something super goofy and, you know, it got me Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
Like, but that's not most things. It's
No.
like, it's about, are they going to look up from whatever the Caesar salad they're eating or look up from, you know, whatever they're doing on Actors Access on their laptop? Are they going to say, oh, cool, this person's talented and they seem to have it together.
Yeah.
Great. I'm putting them in the yes pile.
For sure.
That's all. You're not like trying to get the Broadway role from the open call. You're just trying to get into the pile that gets you the callback, or like lets you put it on tape for the rest of the team. It's don't like, I think everyone thinks of every audition as like, this is the moment.
It's so easy to think that too, because like, I don't know, the stakes just feel so high and it's because you care about it. It's because you care about
we're all overthink, like actors, you know, we're all in our heads. And, but it doesn't do us any service if, you know, it would be easier to just walk in and say, this is what I got.
100%.
Great. I'm going to go get drinks now. Have a nice day.
There you go. Everything's going to be okay, folks. It's all going to be okay.
That's it.
And once again, it is so early. They just woke up, you know? Just chill. We're being chill.
If someone's being clever at 10 in the morning, I'm like, shut up. I need more coffee.
Literally.
I'm not here to see you
be
clever. I'm here to just listen to a little story and
read the room. It's also, like we said last week, that it's a vibe check. You got to pass the vibe check.
That's it.
You know, you got to do it. So yeah, less is more. Less is always going to be more. Yep. Let's dive into the fun world of radio music. The good old quote unquote pop rock, as they say.
Obsessed.
It's what it is nowadays.
It is so much of what we do. Like if you are a young person or whatever age person who is just deciding to come to New York and do musical theater, so much of the landscape is these songwriters writing shows, people writing songs in the style of bands. SpongeBob, which was written by like 15 different rock bands, and Sarah Bareilles. You know, like, so you have to sort of grapple with it. Yeah. But you don't have to drive yourself insane.
No.
There's a lot of people who we see, especially come into actor therapy, and they're like, I don't really listen to pop.
That would be moi. That would be this boy right here.
And you're like, okay, but are you sure? Are you sure you don't ever listen to the radio in the car?
Heard a song ever?
Are you sure you didn't grow up listening to something you know, that your parents loved, or something that was on the radio on a long car trip, or the, you know, things that used to pop up on those commercials on TV that were like songs of the 80s. Like you've been exposed, and you just have to find your in to that world, that sonic world. A lot of people, like, fine, look at the people who are writing for Broadway now. If you're, you know, I'm a show tunes girl only.
Yeah.
Great. But so listen to some Sarah Bareilles, listen to some Ingrid Michaelson, listen to any Max Martin, the and Juliet, you know, all of that stuff, the pop music you grew up like watching the music videos to on MTV. I'm aging myself.
I mean, we're there. We're fine.
But, you know, like, try to find that access point. And we live in a world where it's like Spotify and Apple Music make things so easy for us. Truly. You literally pick one song that you like and ask them to make you a playlist. And then you have like a million new songs at your disposal. And obviously you're not going to love all of them. So skip.
Weed them out. Do your due diligence. It's going to translate way better than you think it's going to. It really will. And it's scary. It is scary, but it's the world we live in. And unfortunately, this is one of those times where I will say it is what it is, and you got to just roll with the punches.
You just got to do it. And you know, a lot of people will be like, well, I don't sing like that. I'm, you know, our classic soprano friends. But there are, you know, millions of artists who do sing like that. You just have to open your mind to it. Like Joni Mitchell is a soprano. Regina Spektor is a soprano. These people are singing in these places. They're just, you know, adjusting the vowels and taking out some vibrato and, you know, making it a little different. But we can all be a pop, rock, something singer. You know, we can all be country singers if you find, you know, the right thing. Taylor Swift is a country singer depending on the day.
100%.
Like,
yeah. Cowboy Carter. Here we are.
Beyonce is a country singer.
The country singer.
The year of our Lord,
Beyonce
2024.
invented country music.
Beyonce is, she runs the Grand Ole Opry at this point.
Yeah, folks, you got to do it. You got to do your research. Once again, I'm shouting out all the people out there who are worrying right now about their vocal ranges. Change the key. Always change the key. You can do it. It's okay.
Especially with pop rock.
You kind of have to.
Like it doesn't matter that those keys were chosen so that Ariana could sing them one time in a studio.
Exactly.
Like right up against a microphone.
Editing, all that stuff. So, yeah.
But what key are you going to be able to do at 10 in the morning?
Yeah.
At Pearl Studios.
And also like logistically too, like especially when you're going in for seasons, like yes, it may not be jukebox musicals left and right. It might not be all pop, but like that is still what they're asking for. They're quite literally asking for pop rock songs. So you got to do it.
It's also just like, it is a great way to tell them who you are.
Also that.
You know what I mean? It tells them about your taste. It tells them about what, gets you jazzed, what music gets you going. It tells them about, like, are you willing to just like jump it, rock out or, like rise to the various, the occasion of that? Are you going to have fun and be able to move your body and feel the music?
Yeah.
They learn so much about your approach to a song.
Yeah.
Like a radio song. So we have to spend our time on it, and it is what it is.
And like, folks, show tunes, musical theater, that is one single genre of music, and every other one is fair game, And you got a whole lot to choose from, and find yourself and show yourself.
So many show tunes these days are just pop songs in disguise.
Also that.
Dear Evan Hansen is a Christian rock musical.
That is like exactly what that is.
There, I said it. You know what I mean?
You're so brave. Thank you.
I just say what I have to say.
Absolutely.
Or, Waitress, The Notebook, these are like folk musicals, essentially, because they're written by like folk songwriters.
I haven't seen The Notebook yet. I'm very excited.
Gorgeous.
I've also never seen the movie.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm going to be a mess.
Well, yeah, it is like an emotional undertaking. You do have to like prepare yourself.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
But
you'll love it.
I'm sure I will. I'm looking forward to it. I'm sorry for everyone that's going to be sitting around me, but oh well, sorry. So yes, folks, you need your radio songs, you need your pop rock songs. Within that, what are we picking for specialties, or what is necessary in terms of?
So I would suggest, and again, this is just me, having your sort of up tempo and your balladish pop rock, something from the past 20, 30 years.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially if you're going in for something like Six, they specifically ask for like something on the radio today.
Absolutely.
Like you're not getting any points for singing Alone by Heart.
No.
One of the, many people who's going to sing that day. Because that's not what the show is. It's not, they don't need to know if you can rock out like some fierce lady from the 80s. They need to know, like, do you live in the world of this? So those are sort of the standards that you just have to have. You have to have something that's recent enough that shows that you have like at least a fingertip
literally
on the zeitgeist. But there's, within that, if you're a big folk country girly, maybe having an up tempo and a ballad for that too. Yeah. Or if you know that you just want to go in for like Shucked.
Yeah.
Then just have one fun like poppy country song.
Exactly.
Like a Carrie Underwood or like something that's like on the radio but is country.
Yeah. And like also there's a lot of shows out there that is the genre and you just don't know it. Like it is just there. So
many shows have bits of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're going out for, Footloose, like all there's like this, there's so many things that require just like a joyful country feel.
Yeah.
Because the American South is a huge part of the American theater. Because
it's also half of the country.
It's half the country.
Literally. It's the bottom part.
It's the whole bottom part.
Spoiler alert.
That's the bottom.
Yeah.
So that's one, we hear a lot of, I don't listen to country. I don't do that. Sure. Do you want to get jobs? Do you want to check?
There you go.
If you want to check, figure it out.
I sure do.
I would love a check.
No kidding.
At all times.
Truly.
And then another big one is sort of the 50s, 60s world, which is a very specific thing. It's not as simple as just like Googling what songs were written between 1950 and 1969.
Yeah.
It's about thinking about, the shows that are set in that time, because there is a huge portion of MT that is set there. You've got, Grease and All Shook Up and Jersey Boys.
Yes.
Some of them are jukebox, some of them are not, whatever. But Marvelous Wondrettes, Forever Plaid. There's all of these shows that sort of hit that world and that very specific sonic sound, which is that sort of doo-wop-y, Motowny, fun, upbeat music.
And there are 4 months of the year where every single theater will be doing at least one of those shows.
Absolutely beautiful.
Everywhere.
They show up constantly. So having something in that, and we sort of whittle it down to make it as easy as possible at Actor Therapy. And it's like, well, okay, well, if you're auditioning for Grease, who are you?
Yep.
So, if you're a Rizzo, sing a sort of like a tough girl song, like a Leslie Gore. If you think of yourself as a Marty, find something like Flirty by the Supremes.
Yeah.
If you're a Sandy, find, like a Doris Day or a something like I'm bright and happy and everything's going to go great for me because I have a blonde ponytail or whatever pony, you know what I mean? Like, but
you're right.
That's sort of, it sounds so, just like silly.
Yeah.
But you just have to sort of think like, where do I belong in the world of those shows? And is there a song that sounds like that?
That's exactly right.
That shows them I can do that.
Because you need it.
You need it.
We all do. It's fact of the matter. Once again, it is what it is. It's the world we're living in.
That's it.
And we take what I at least take what I can get, so.
Listen, I would be in Greece tomorrow if you want to pay me.
Absolutely.
Equity minimum for it.
Really?
So
yeah.
There we go.
That's nice. So yeah, those are, I would say, I guess, top 5 technically, but top 3 genres: classical, contemporary, radio.
Yeah.
And then the tempos within there. And then other must-haves are very must-have. Our good old Mr. Stephen Sondheim.
I mean, he has written almost all of the most brilliant shows. Literally
that were ever written.
I mean, he has created the entire contemporary musical sound and the way we approach musicals in terms of letting them be more cerebral and letting them come from the thoughts and getting really specific. He was never trying to write like something that would cross over to the radio. He was writing for a character in a show, and that has influenced everyone. JRB, all of the,
and like outside of musical theater, I feel I didn't join musical theater until I was a junior in high school. And then once I started listening to stuff, I was like, oh, I know this song because like we've played this in orchestra, like his work is everywhere, sneaking into people's brains left and right, and they don't even know it, So huge part of the canon of musical theater, huge part of just the entire world and culture. And so
he's an important one. You can get a little tricky with that Sondheim because he created that sort of genre, but there are other people who do similar things in some ways. What they're asking for with Sondheim is like, are you able to handle complicated rhythms?
Yes.
Are you able to handle a lot of words and, like words coming at you in the present moment and making sense of those as a story?
100%.
Things like that. So you can get away with like an Adam Gettle song or a particularly difficult Ryan Scott Oliver song, one of these songs that sounds in that world, exploring with the minor keys and all of that stuff that Sondheim does. You can get away with something like that, but you also have all of his music at your disposal.
100%.
He wrote many, many shows. He literally wrote the book about his shows, the 2-book series. So every one of his songs is like spread out in a list. Just go through and like go on a dive.
He truly did write for everyone. Yeah. Like that's a world where like no matter who you are, there's something for you in there, and it's front and center more than it would be elsewhere. So like also just pop off for him doing that in general. But especially for finding where you fit in the world and how to put that in your book. This is one of the better categories in terms of like when you're starting from scratch, you know?
Oh yeah, because there's so much
Mhm.
to go from. I mean, you know, other than a non-Asian person doing Pacific overtures, we have a lot to work with. There's you know, you see how his shows are
Yes.
done constantly with completely new, the Company revival.
Yeah,
Like
oh my
we
God.
just, you know, we got fast and loose with everyone's genders
Mhm.
and everyone switching who's who and what couples. You
Yeah.
can do whatever you want. And sometimes there are people who, you know, there are not a lot of Sondheim songs that work super well out of a character context or a
Mhm.
show context, only because he is so specific and intentional in the way he writes the lyrics. But like a song like Now You Know from Merrily, like you don't have to be a Mary Flynn type, a
Mhm.
Lindsay Mendez type to sing that. If you're that's who you are, and your friend group is the friend who's going to be like, all right, bitch, listen. Can I say that?
You can.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
Okay, great. That was my first colorful language. I'm surprised I made it this far.
I'm so proud of you.
I know that was good for me. But you know, if you're the friend who's going to be that, like, who levels with people,
Mhm.
like, then great. Just find a song that does that. You know,
Yeah.
like you don't have to say, oh God, like which character can I play in Sondheim right now? But
Yeah.
you can find something that speaks to you and shows your personality, because he wrote for
Yes.
so many different specific types of people.
That's exactly right. And like, folks, I will say, make sure you can do it. Whatever you're choosing, make sure you can do it, because it is complex, and that is the reason why we're doing this. And also, within that, you don't need to choose the most complex song there is.
Truly.
Once again, they're not going to be like, ooh, he's brilliant, so smart, so tricky. You know?
We don't all need to do Getting Married Today.
Exactly.
You know, it's such a great song.
100%.
But it's hard as.
Yeah.
And what you want to demonstrate is that you have a handle of it, the Sondheim. You want to demonstrate you can make it through all of those tricky. So you have to spend a lot of time with your Sondheim is sort of the other thing. You know, that's the first thing that is going to stand out to a musical director. If you're doing that weird, tricky section of I Know Things Now, where she's going all over that staff, and you don't have the notes right, you know, there's something to be said about like, oh, I was kind of talk singing it because I was acting. No, Sondheim wrote it so that you could do the acting, but also hit all of those pitches.
Yeah.
So your job is to, you know it well enough that you can do that. But that's what makes it impressive. That's what makes a musical director say, okay, so she can learn really tricky pitches and rhythms in the 2 weeks of rehearsal we have, and I can trust her to hold them down.
Yeah.
That was a ghost.
It was a ghost. It was a ghost of a dead soprano.
That was absolutely.
Yeah, folks. And like, especially right now with all of the revivals and stuff happening, once again, it's easier to fit in that world if you don't see yourself emulating what's in the recordings and whatnot. So like, go check them out, listen to them, watch the performances. Speaking of I Know Things Now, we just had Katie on a couple weeks ago, Katie Garrity.
Oh, yay. I don't know her, but lovely.
We went to college together.
Oh my God.
She was the one that cast me in my first college musical ever. So
she saw the potential.
I hate to say it, but I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her.
She gets it.
I'm always trying to keep her humble, but it's true.
A woman who gets it.
Folks, look up her stuff. It's a masterclass. It really is. She's incredibly talented. But yeah, go out, see what's happening right now. Because once again, you fit into this world way easier than you're going to think you will. So go check it out. Do your work. You know, spend some time, bring your materials to a coach and whatnot, and really iron everything out, especially if you're not someone that is incredibly musically inclined or like can read sheet music like fluently or whatnot. That wasn't right. What's the word I was looking for?
Fluently?
Okay.
Yes,
great.
Why not?
Great. You get it.
Sheet music is like a language. You can be fluent in sheet music.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So yeah,
I've decided.
Folks, you know what I'm trying to say. Anywho, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, Sondheim. Gotta have it. Love him.
And then, you know, there are the other sort of like specialty things that people consider. And to be fair, I will give you a Mommy Mendez secret. Lindsay didn't go to college for theater. She came to the city. She started, you know, just auditioning and working. She had like 6 songs in her book, and she has never had much more than that, because she sort of, the confidence fairy must have blessed her, because she was from a young age able to say like, these are the things that I do better than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
If you want me to audition for you, you want to see me do one of these things.
Yeah.
Because that's what I do.
That's so badass.
So, you know, I don't think Lindsay ever like had a Disney song.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't trying to be a Disney princess.
That's exactly right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't where she wanted to live.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, so you have to sort of decide on these sort of specialty things if you need them. If you did, you know, one of these people we talked about before who like grew up like learning how to sing in a legit world or the opera world, maybe, yeah, sure, have like a little opera piece or an art song or something.
Yeah. So
that if they're ever like, oh, you do this, you can be like, yeah, watch me.
100%.
Or, you know, if you're someone who like you would live to get a year contract working for Disney on one of the cruise ships or working one of the parks or have like a specific Disney song. But if you're someone who's like, I'm probably, you know, fine to go in for like Frozen sometimes, but I'm not really like a big Disney person, then you just use your contemporary musical theater song when you go to that audition. If you're if it's not something you're like, I need to be doing that.
Yeah.
If you're not someone who considers yourself a comedian or someone who is, you know, facile with comedy, or if that's not something you love, then you don't need to like bust your butt trying like find the perfect comedy song.
Exactly.
Comedy songs are the worst anyway, because most of the time everyone's heard the jokes.
Yes.
So unless you're able to like really bring something unique and specific to it, are they even laughing?
Yes, 100%.
So it's like if you found the perfect song, like some like Rachel Bloom ditty that you know is just always silly and funny in the room, then that's great. But it's like, is it even just a comedy song, or is that your contemporary musical theater song? You know, like, but it just you lead with humor, so you lead with humor.
Exactly.
I think people just get so in their heads about like, I need to have this and this and this, and you can just be like, do I? Do I need that?
Truly.
Is that what I do? I'll quote RSO. In New York, they're looking for the 12 out of 10.
Yes.
In every category, because you can find them. You know what I mean? If I need the dead ghost soprano, you've got like 10 on speed dial who have already done it on Broadway and won the awards. And so if you're joining the list of dead ghost sopranos, great. You're saying like, I'm a 12 out of 10 out of that. And that's what I do better than everyone else. But if you're like, I'm kind of a 4 on the like really funny comedy scale, you know what I mean? Like, that's not what you do. Like, if you're, you know, that's not a bad some people are like, they go out into the world and they're like really outgoing and they like to crack jokes and they like to be goofy. And some people are like grounded, calm, chill people who don't. That's not what they do.
And you know what? There's a lot more of those in musical theater too than there are the clowns, you know? That's just the way theater was written. So like find your place. Find your place.
Find what.
That being said, there's some good stuff in the Disney catalog, so don't sleep on that, you know? There is some very good versatile stuff. But yeah, I mean, especially like for me in particular, like I know that Disney's probably going to be at least like 20% of my career, you know? So you bet I got those songs in the back of my book that I can whip out when I need to.
You're just listening to Alan Menken on repeat. And
truly.
Until you find the perfect
thing. I'm a Disney adult. So like
love that.
I also want it to be 20%
my husband
of my
is
career.
a Disney adult. It's okay.
It's great.
There's a support group.
I'm proud. I'm proud. I don't care.
I love that confidence.
Thank you.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So you got your little special categories. You got your Disney. You got your character, your comedy, your punk rock. If you're
like love. If you're, you know, if you grew up singing gospel or R&B, then have a song that shows that.
Exactly.
If you're a queer person and you think of that as something that is important to your identity, something that you love to lead with and share with, then maybe a great queer song, you know, something either whether it's a gender bend, as they say, or just, you know, a song that is explicitly a queer pop song or something like that. Great. Like, you bring your Troye Sivan and live your best life. And show
I heard JoJo Siwa's making a new genre.
And thank God for her, because what would we do
God bless
without her new genre?
We love it.
JoJo.
We
Sweet
love it.
girl.
We love it.
Somewhere
Yeah.
Lady Gaga is rolling over, and she's not dead.
She
I
doesn't
was
even
going to say in
know.
her grave.
She
She
does-
might live in a grave
Yeah.
though, just for fun, because she's a vampire.
I would see that for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my God. She's like way shorter than I would have ever thought she
Lady
would
Gaga?
be. Yeah.
Well, because she's always wearing those like
That's fair.
10-inch platforms.
Or dangling from a ceiling.
Or hanging. Yep. Or jumping off the roof of a stadium.
Literally. Yeah. Oh my God. What a time that was when she jumped off.
Truly wild.
Oh, good times.
Never forget.
No, I literally won't. It's burned into my brain. Okay. So those are your categories, folks. Probably going to have like 8-ish, give or take.
Yeah, 8 to 12.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have more than.
No.
We don't need more than a dozen or a baker's dozen.
Exactly. And like also like in terms of total songs in your book, no more than what?
12 is,
really,
is the suggested guideline from where I've, my school.
Exactly.
But it's really up to you. And it's everything I say is like, take that with a grain of salt. If you don't agree, great. I will be just fine for the rest of my day if you don't agree with something I said, as much as this is an auspicious occasion to 100%. Be here on a podcast. But if you don't think you need that because you don't do that, great. Yeah. So you don't need that. If you do think you need something that I said you probably don't need, great.
Amazing.
Go forth. Enjoy.
Yes.
Have fun.
If you're confident about it, then do it.
That's it.
Who cares what we think?
That's it.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm just here to help. Hopefully something I say.
Take what we say, run with it in the ways that vibe with you. And if it doesn't, then don't. And if you learn later on that maybe you should have, well, that's on you.
Told you.
No. We love you. Okay. So more general Q&A questions. What if a song can fit in more than one category? Where are you shoving it? Where are you shoving it? Who cares?
It doesn't matter what you as long as you know what to use it for.
Exactly.
Then you just saved yourself some arm strength having to carry around some crap you didn't need.
Exactly.
Great.
Amazing. Done. People say that you shouldn't sing songs currently on Broadway.
I am not in the business of shouldn'ts and shoulds.
Yes. 100%.
However, my perspective on that is like you're bringing baggage and ghosts into the room with you
100%.
When you bring certain things. And that we'll get there, but it goes in line with what people say are like overdone things or things like that. If something is on Broadway right now, most of these casting people went to the invited dress or to the opening night, the press night, and they saw, whoever, Ben Platt, whatever, do it that way. There is an expectation in their head because it's so fresh. They've just seen it. We've just been talking about, who the replacement of the new, you know what I mean? If it's
the cast recording
just came out. We just saw them do it on the Today Show.
Mm-hmm.
You're just bringing a lot of expectations into the room that you don't need to.
No.
You're sort of setting yourself up to have to rise to an occasion that isn't it easier to just be yourself and do something that is going to show you without letting these other like thoughts and ghosts get in your way.
Yeah.
That's sort of how I approach it.
And if you can do that, good for you. But I'm going to venture to say that 97% of the acting population out there probably can't do that immediately. So don't stress.
There are 1,000 bazillion people who can sing waving through a window beautifully. However, when that show was on Broadway, if you brought it into an audition room, first of all, it does kind of make you look a little green because it makes it seem like you're only really up to date with the big shows.
Yes.
And that you haven't really had a lot of time with, the repertoire and all of that. But it's also, you're literally saying can I deliver the performance that's being delivered 8 times a week at the Music Box? And why are you making the casting director think about that?
No, you don't need to.
It's just things get in the way.
It's another obstacle to put in your path, in the path of the casting director, know?
And there's certain things even from the past that go along with that. If you're bringing a Barbra Streisand or a Judy Garland, people who have been called for 60, 70, 80 years.
Yeah.
The best vocalists of all time.
Whitney
literally. Houston, people. it's like you're going to need a bellboy to help you with all the baggage
Yes.
that you're bringing into that room.
Yeah.
Someone's going to have to carry your luggage
100%.
because there's that's what they know, all of those iconic versions, all of those performances, all of that. And it's like setting yourself up to be like, I can do what Barbara did. And
Yes.
It's like, no, you can't.
No.
I love you. You're beautiful. You're perfect. But no one can do what she does because there's only one her.
That's her. That is who she is. Who are you, folks?
So show me what you do.
Yes.
Not,
and granted, if you can do something with one of those classic songs that's never been done before and is absolutely incredible, pop off, do it. Amazing. But
100%.
like, we're not out here to emulate anyone else. We're not here to do that. We're here to be ourselves. So be smart about it. You know? Yeah. And like, I don't know, the rest of the quote unquote do not sing list, the overdone things, like, once again, be smart about it, you know? No one should be going into singing Defying Gravity, you know?
There's no need. You're not getting an Elphaba salary.
No.
And you don't have a cherry picker.
No.
And you don't have the giant cape.
No.
And you don't have the ensemble. It's like, you're showing up to the party with like a really lovely gift, but it's like wrapped in dirty newspaper.
Literally.
And like the string is falling off and you lost the to whoever love whatever name tag. And it's just like, here's this.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave this here for you. And it's like, oh, that was really sweet of you, but okay.
And
cool.
As magical as it may feel to you, just remember that your backdrop is 520 Ripley Studios, you know? That is what they see.
The like mustard yellow velvet curtain.
Literally.
Velour curtain at Ripley Greer. Like,
have you ever been to the one that's like right up the street on 8th and like 57?
Oh, yeah.
I went to that once. I couldn't even get in the building. Like, I could not, like, there was like, and I like had to call the number and they were like, oh, this isn't actually like this location.
Much love to Ripley Greer, but
yes,
some of those aesthetics leave a lot to be desired.
100%. God bless.
Very lovely people, though.
God bless Open Jar.
God bless Open. And God bless Kurt.
Indeed. So yeah, don't overthink it. Don't, once again, just find your stuff. Find your stuff.
Yeah. Oh, but sorry, you were saying something about overdone and to say one more thing on it. A lot of it, as I said, I don't want to do like shouldn'ts versus shoulds.
Yes.
I think of just like framing it in a way that makes sense to you or to me. And in my head, if I know that something is being sung by every other person in my audition prep class, or something that I know I've seen a million people do at their showcase in the past year, all I can think is, I'm going to be one of however many people get seen by this person today.
Yes.
Do I want to be one of the 45 people that she heard sing Lost in the Brass?
Exactly right.
Even if I think I do it better than the other 44 of them. Or do I want to be one of like 2 people who sang this other song that is just as good and just as delightful?
There you go.
You know, you're not going to like, don't go look for like the bottom of the barrel.
Yes.
Cut out of town. There's a reason it was cut. There's so many ways to approach that, but something that is like familiar enough that they know, that they are able to drop into the 16 bar journey of the song that you're doing. Great. But it doesn't need to be something that everyone else is singing, or you're just making your job harder. You're making it harder for yourself to stand out. You're making it harder for them to be on board. Yeah. Because they're going to be more interested in their Caesar salad than they are in the 44th version of the same thing.
And folks, they need that Caesar salad. They really do.
They do. Our casting friends do need sustenance.
Exactly.
They do need to eat.
So
to do their brilliant work.
Yeah, make sure you're doing what you have to get them to look up from that, okay? Because that is their life. That is their lifeblood. And there you go.
I'm very lucky that I get to work with a lot of casting folks through actor therapy because there are human beings. And we forget this. We forget that these are just people doing a job. Their ultimate goal is to get you in a show.
Yeah.
If you walked in the room and you were perfect for what they needed, you've made their day so easy. You've made their day amazing. You've made everything happy in
No
their
one
in their
ever
world.
says, "Oh, I really hate it when people make my job easy." You know, I hate it when people don't give me a hard time at this thing, you know?
So it's just like, what are you letting yourself get in the way of that?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you able to just walk in and be like, great, I solved your problem?
Literally. Folks, when in doubt, when you're thinking of what these people do, just remember that it is their job and think of every other job that you've had and whether or not it's the same thing. It's a 1-to-1 ratio, you know? So yeah, there you go. There you go.
That's that.
Crazy.
Sing it if you want to sing it.
Exactly.
Are you doing yourself a service?
Yeah.
By doing it. That's that's the ultimate answer.
Lower the stakes in your brain, lower all of that stuff for yourself, and just do it.
Just vibe.
Just vibe. Just vibe.
That's the thesis of this podcast today. Just vibe.
This is the Vibe Check podcast for sure.
Love.
Yeah, for sure. You passed, by the way. You're here. You're in the chair.
Thank
That means
goodness.
You made it.
God, thank goodness. All I've ever wanted.
For real? Do you mean that?
Yeah. To be here in this chair right now.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop it.
That and 6 Tony Awards, but
also that, but I can't give you that, unfortunately. Maybe someday.
Maybe.
Anywho, so you got all these songs in your book. However, you need you're not singing that whole song. You're not. They don't have the time for that. You're singing some cuts. We got different lengths of those cuts. I think we've talked about this on our audition episode, but like most commonly, you got your 32, you got your 16, and the dreaded 8. The dreaded 8, you know?
The dreaded 8. We don't see them a lot.
No.
But,
yeah.
If you're at that 400 person national tour call, they might bring it down to 8.
Mm-hmm. It was required anyways, you know?
I'm sorry.
It's something we all go through. And my heart reaches out to you. Anywho, you need them. So let's cut that music down, Let's cut that down. You can have separate copies. You can have one copy if it's legible and not too terrible. Sometimes you're going to be Frankensteining your sheet music, as we like to call it. You're cutting it up and pasting it onto other stuff. So once again, whatever makes it easiest for you to see in your book organizationally or for an accompanist to flip to, it's just that.
Yeah. I move through the world sometimes trying to just make things easier for myself.
Yeah.
As many of us are wont to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are so many things I can't control in an audition, but there are some things that you can.
Yes.
And that's like for a lot of actors that they don't realize. But yeah, if I'm bringing in something that's like literally cut and pasted and the Scotch tape is making it harder to read, and I've scratched things out, and all you're doing is causing a potential for confusion.
Yes.
With an accompanist you've never met before who
Mm-hmm.
is seeing this for the first time. So for me, I usually if I'm doing a cut, I will go to one of my piano friends, not the actual piano, the person who plays the piano. I realized that I worded that. Yeah, I worded that oddly. My pianist friends, or my friends who do music copy or anything like that, and just have them make a fresh cut.
Yep.
The technology is so simple.
Yeah.
It's not that expensive if you go to a friend or someone who's just starting out, and just get a fresh copy made,
Mm-hmm.
so that, and it'll say your name on the audition cut of blah, 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 prepared for Matt Whitman. And then I know there's so much less potential for disaster.
Exactly.
So I'm just working smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
That's how I think of it. You don't have to do that if you're able to, like you said, Frankenstein it and make it look fine and make it great. But I try to take out as many variables as possible in that room. Right. So if I have a clean cut and you know exactly where to start and where to finish and everything's clearly marked, then there's less potential for something to go awry.
That's exactly right. It's like when we talked about resumes a couple of weeks ago, we were saying that it should look like a sexy piece of paper. And this is the exact same thing, folks.
We love sexy paper.
Exactly. Oh, also, folks, if you don't have those friends that can do that stuff, there are so many actual music transcription websites that you can download a program for free. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to use it. I mean, if you want to learn, cool. great. But you can download it for free. You can literally just look at the page that you already have, look at the document on your computer, and just put those dots where those other dots are, you know? So there's options for sure. But
after this podcast, just DM me. I will share the names of some lovely people who
there we go.
You can Venmo.
Absolutely.
So I can give my friends some business.
As we should.
Great.
So yeah, folks, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing to make that legible and easier. And then in terms of your cuts, you know, we don't need to talk about the structure in this episode. We'll probably do like a music episode at some point. But yeah, it's we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out together.
Just like a little short thing that leaves them wanting more.
Exactly.
That's the easiest way to think of it.
Exactly. And then I think we talked about it previously, but once again, like it's not even measure numbers, it's time, you know?
Absolutely. No one is actually counting the measures. They don't have the time.
The accompanist just stops. He's like, that was 32. You're done. No.
That's not happening at, you know, real New York auditions.
Exactly. 32 bars, minute and a half max, you know?
Yeah, it's somewhere between a minute and a half.
Exactly.
16 bars is like around 30 to 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Great. Get in, get out, show them what you've done, leave them wanting more. No one wants to be like the person who just kept going on and on.
Yeah.
Everyone outside the door is like,
everyone's like looking at their watches.
Yeah, you don't want to be that person. And it doesn't get you any points.
Crazy. So yeah, folks, that's what we're rocking with for that.
Yep.
In terms of other organization, I think the OCD people out there have the most polished books for sure. I definitely am not to that level, but I like my little dividers. I like my tabs on every sheet music, you know, just for easy lack of fumbling at the end of the day.
I think a tab is going to be great with the title, because a lot of the time they'll say like, do you have something else? And without you having to like run and, you know, like stand awkwardly hover over the pianist and like rifle through things.
Yeah.
If you can just say like, yeah, I have this or this, then the accompanist can just turn the page themselves with the little tab. You've made it easy for everyone.
Make a table of contents, folks. So the accompanist can just say, hey, sing this.
Keep, you know, I do the little dividers to sort of separate the genres.
Yes.
This is where like, if they want to hear something in the classical world, I'm going to go to this the yellow section. If they want to hear contemporary, they're going to go to the blue section. If they want to hear the radio, we're going to go to red. That's all. So at least I know that those are like the three worlds.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like that's where things might be rather than
completely unrelated. Did you have like assigned binder colors back in the days of school?
Absolutely.
Do you have that like drilled into your brain?
I don't remember them specifically.
Okay.
I know that I did it to the point that I even had like, I would have the matching like gel pen.
Oh, okay. Wow.
To the like, yeah.
Like to this day in my brain, science is green. Science is always green.
Well, yeah, science
Math
green.
is red.
See, but then I think, science was green, and then social studies was probably blue for me. Because I think like the earth. I was like, it either had to be blue or green.
Understood.
For social studies because of it was.
There was,
earth.
I think, like my first year of middle school, there was like a set standard. Like they were like, these are your 4 binder colors, and then from then on, it was just ingrained. You know,
I don't need that. I liked to branch out a little more because they weren't letting me use like purple.
You're so creative,
you know, or Lisa Frank. What, you know, theater was probably like the Lisa Frank folder
for sure,
you know, with your jazzy neon,
of course,
panda bear or whatever,
your unicorn, glowing. Love it.
We need that too.
Yeah, folks, make that your book. I don't know, have some fun.
Just design it how you feel makes sense to you and would make sense to the person who has to play it. And
it should be overwhelming for nobody involved.
You don't want to be the person whose like stuff is falling apart, falling out of the book. These are all things that do not help you pass the vibe check, as we've said, because that's in that 2 minutes that they have in a room with you. If they see things falling out of your binder, things you not being able to find where things are, then it's like, oh, is this what's going to happen when we have to do a script edit and hand out new pages in the middle of a rehearsal, and we have like 5 minutes before break, but we really want to run the number before.
Yep.
And are you going to be the one who's like throwing pages all over the room and
Literally.
making a mess and can't get to the right page on time? Or are you going to be the one who's like, I have my shit together.
Exactly.
I can do it.
Yeah.
Even if you're not that person, at least pretend.
Please.
By having your book look
like
that way.
it.
Act. You're an actor. Yeah. If the book looks like you have it together, then as far as they know.
Yeah, that's all they need to, they just need to think that.
Yeah.
And also folks, like, especially with like dividing into like genres, like there are many songs out there that have the same name as others. So that's also just helpful for everyone's eyes.
100%.
But yeah, once again, just make it easy. Make it easy for everyone, including yourself.
Mostly yourself.
Like, also that. Yeah.
We have so much anxiety and like trauma to deal with every time you enter an audition. It's, you know, the one business where you're constantly like walking into rooms being like, am I good enough?
Yeah.
Whatever you can do to like make it a positive experience is just going to help you. It's going to help
make something a color that you like to look at, you know, like something that brings you joy, you know, whatever. Who cares? Who cares what color your binder is? If it makes you happy, great. You get to look at that right before you sing a song.
Black makes me happy.
Great.
Black makes other people feel doomed.
Exactly.
You know,
sometimes it's sleek, it's organized, you know, great. Whatever Lower the stakes.
Lower the stakes.
So yeah, that's kind of that. Just in terms of where you're getting this music, you know, it's great to pay artists for their work.
Yes.
You know, it is great to do that.
Especially the ones who are like alive and making the work 100%. Right now.
That being said, it's not always financially suitable in a pay-to-play industry.
Mm-hmm.
So the following conversation is by two other people that sound just like us.
Yes.
Some free things. Google.
Brennan and Mathieu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yep.
Okay, great. Wait, who's who?
You're Brennan and I'm Mathieu.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Well, I guess it could have gone either way.
I guess. Yeah. Well, if you wanted to switch. Now we're getting to
No, I'll be Brennan.
Now we've really just ruined the whole ruse. So, you know, we've made it too.
Yes, so true. Tom and Jerry are stepping up to the mics. Anywho, google.com, really great resource.
Listen, the success that I have just by searching so-and-so PDF free.
Yep.
Or such and such PDF free.
Amazing.
That's what it works a lot.
Reddit. This is just for anything in life. If you have a question, that's where you're going to find the answer.
Yeah. People love to share things on Reddit through drives. One I always use is, I don't know how to pronounce it, Scribed or Scribd, whatever that website is. If you get an account with them, it costs like whatever every month, but it has this like treasure trove of things that people have uploaded, as well as all of these like actually like licensed books and audiobooks.
Yes.
Like if you're a reader, especially, it makes it really worth it.
Yeah.
Because you actually get all of that other stuff. But then there's this whole like trove of scores and sheet music and everything that people just upload and share with the world because they want to be generous.
And listen, folks, grab your group of friends, go in on a subscription to that.
100%.
Really only one person needs to have an account and then you're golden, you know?
Yep.
Gorgeous. Love it.
Do you know about Michael Levine?
No.
Okay, I'm going to name drop. There is a musical director here in the city. His name is Michael Levine.
Okay.
Google. He has a website. So he's sort of been known like since I was in college. So like the olden days, the Oregon Trail dysentery days.
Oh my God.
As being like the sheet music connoisseur.
Interesting.
And it used to be like you would email and he would be like, great, send me $10 in a self-addressed envelope and I'll send you the sheet music. And that's what would happen.
That's insane.
But now it's much more digitized and like through his website and whatever. But if you're ever looking for something that like you can't, or people are saying like, oh no, that score is not available or like no one can find it, look for Michael Levine. That's a little secret tip from me to you.
From Tom and Jerry.
From Tom and Jerry to you. Excuse me. Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of little secret things. There's a Facebook group that I use sometimes called The Library. I'm not sure if you're on that.
I have left the Facebook.
I'm so proud of you.
During 2020, it was one of those things I was like, I can't be on this
I've said it
website anymore.
Once and I'll say it again. I use Facebook for the Facebook Marketplace to know people's birthdays and a place to store pictures.
I do miss the birthdays.
That's the only thing is like I'm desperate otherwise. But lately I've been just writing everyone's birthday down on the day of. I've been just adding it to my calendar.
There you go.
Eventually I can move on.
Eventually you'll be able to, like, Facebook, I'm free of you.
Also, I'm the friend that, like, one of my best buddies, he's not on Facebook. So I'm the one that has to text him when it's people's birthdays.
Yep.
And I kind of love that too.
Yeah, it's nice to be like,
I feel like my mom, actually.
Yeah.
I'm like, by the way, it's so-and-so's birthday.
That's so momish.
So yeah, Facebook group, it's called The Library. It is just a bunch of people and you say, hey, does anybody have the sheet music for this? And someone says, yes. And you're like, great, here's my email address. And then they send it to you. It's a great little community thing. It's not as active nowadays. I think people are starting to roll off the Facebook train, but like, might as well throw a post in there just in case, you know?
The library is open. You might as well.
The library is open.
Do some reading.
And it's fundamental.
Yep.
And then if you are looking to pay for music or you can't find it anywhere else, I feel like the go-to would be musicnotes.com. I think that is also the best resource when you are trying to change keys of something because they can just do that, on the website. This is a pro burp podcast, by the way. I'm sorry, I forgot to say that before.
I love that.
I'm sorry if you've held anything in.
No, and you excused yourself. It was all very polite.
Absolutely. We all do it, you know? Anywho,
That's cool.
Yeah, Music Notes, folks. That's where you can change keys. This is not a pro cough podcast, unfortunately. That's strike one. Music Notes, folks, you can go on. A lot of songs have the option to change the key. And here's the thing. Usually it's like they like do it so you pay to print each copy. Once again, Tom and Jerry saying that there's an option to save it as a PDF. And after every quote unquote print job, it will say, was this successful? Oh my God, no, it wasn't. But
I'm going to ruin your podcast.
It's okay.
I'm like,
once again, we all do it.
Choking on water.
Yes. Once again, oh my God, no, it didn't print out so good. I'm going to do it a different day. You know, you can go back, you can print that sucker out as many times in as many different keys. Try it out.
Save everyone as a PDF.
Literally every single thing, save it as a PDF. Make your own library as you're doing this. And yeah, I think those are my go-tos, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're correct.
You got anything else?
That's it.
Amazing. So yeah, folks, do that. Are you keeping anything else in your book with you? Once again, you want it to be organized. I keep my headshots and resumes in there just as a place because when I'm waking up early in the morning for these things, I am one to forget a lot of things.
No.
So I keep everything in one place, which is the front or back of my book. It is my headshots and resumes. I have my EMC card in there and that's it.
You have the card in there too.
Just in the back pocket.
Yeah, I have headshots and resumes in the front. There are some people who like weirdly don't love like things on the outside of your book.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I guess they're like easily distracted or something. Like I've heard casting people be like, oh, I just think it's silly when people have like a picture of themselves on the front of their book. So I always keep them on the inside now just in case I'm being judged.
I don't think I really put anything on the outside. I think I put my resume there at one point, but honestly, it was just for the fact of contact information.
Right.
That being said, folks, write your contact information on the inside of your book in case you lose it, because that happens.
Also, like, fuck them. Like, I don't know why people
also,
care
yeah,
about things like
who
that.
cares?
But
who cares?
I don't know. I guess that one has stuck with me. So I keep headshots and resumes inside.
Mm-hmm.
I keep my monologues at the back of my book just in case there was ever a situation in which someone asked me for one, or for like that, you know, once every season moment where like they're doing plays and musicals in rep and you can choose to do a monologue and a cut or something. I just have them there just so if I like need to like quickly remind myself of what that text is before I walk into a room, they're there. Yeah. But they're just like hiding at the back.
There you go. Always hide it in the back, folks. When in doubt, you know, keep it organized. They won't know.
I keep some Post-its.
Great.
Just in case I ever had to like do something.
Love that.
Fix a cut or in case. But
that feels great. That feels reasonable.
It's just the stage manager mom and me like being like, be prepared for everything.
Of course.
Again, setting myself up for success.
There you go.
Rather than the potential for disaster.
Crazy concept. A really crazy concept.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I got for that. And last but not least, like other than the good old organization stuff, what are we doing to help that accompanist?
Okay.
I've heard many different things.
Yeah. The thing is, opinions are like buttholes, and every pianist has both of those things. Opinions and some of them love sheet protectors. Some of them hate sheet protectors. I use sheet protectors. I've not like come across anyone who is like working in a lot of like the high profile New York auditions that is like,
I'm not playing this.
I refuse to play this. There's a glare on the, and it's like, oh,
yeah,
they're going to move the piano 6 inches to the left, and then there won't be a glare from that fluorescent light if it's really that, if they're that upset about it.
That's definitely the biggest one is the sheet protectors.
So odd to me, because then there are others on the other hand who are like, if like they don't want staples, because then there's the chance they're going to cut their finger open on your stuff or get a paper cut. Like so.
You can't print your resume on paper, people. You must carve it into stone.
Yeah, like everything, So there's no way to make everyone happy. No. Just like choose something and stick with it, I would say. If everything is in sheet protectors, then it's going to be easy.
Yep.
If one thing is in sheet protectors and then one thing is sort of haphazardly stapled and the hole punches, the 3 holes are like falling out of the rings, and you don't have those little sticker things that sticker things that like keep them closed, then you're setting yourself up.
And folks, if you're getting a note from people very frequently, if you're hearing the same thing over and over from many people, maybe make an adjustment. But once again, who cares?
Yeah,
who cares?
I'll throw out one thing. Shout out to Jason Wetzel, if you know him. He's an amazing musical director, best in the biz. Just worked on the Into the Woods Broadway tour. Jason, the golden rule from him is make sure the binder doesn't suck.
Oh,
because like when you pull the 3-hole binders like apart by the binder rings, then they sort of start to get weird, and then they don't connect all the way, and then sometimes the pages don't turn properly. That is like the big pet peeve, because first of all, if you just don't pull the rings that way and you use the little tab things like that are supposed to open the rings, then that doesn't happen. So he's sort of already judging you a little just for letting that happen. But then it just is making his job difficult if he can't turn the pages, if the pages are like giving him trouble.
Yeah.
You're just adding stuff to your audition that you don't need. He's going to have to stop playing for a bar while he fixes the page.
Yes.
Or he's not going to be able to see what the next part of your song. So that's the big one that like universally
for sure
I've heard. Don't give me a janky binder.
I think it just boils down to be organized. Just make it easy. Once again,
get it right, get it tight.
I will say I did have the exceptions is always like those small regional theaters like who bring their own accompanist.
Yep.
I last year. It wasn't even a small regional theater. It was a pretty prominent one, was doing an NYC EPA. And I went, and I was in line outside the thing, and the first girl came out of the room and she was like, if you don't have chords on your sheet music, he's not going to play it. He's going to ask you to pick something else. And we were all like furiously like flipping and whatnot. And thank God, whatever sheet music I had obtained from someone did have like the little chord.
The guitar chords?
Yeah, like that and with the little written literally whatever above it. And I was like, this is crazy. And folks, that is like a very, very rare occasion,
Yeah.
I'm sure that the people behind the table were just as upset about it as you were. So like, don't sweat it.
And in those situations, they have to like at some point be like, oh,
yeah,
I probably shouldn't hire.
I was astounded.
Accompanist next time.
Truly.
Yeah, those, the rare occurrences are going to happen. You're going to have someone who is like cranky that you used a sheet protector from, dinner theater number 5 in Iowa.
Yeah.
And you're just going to be like, okay, thanks.
Great. On to the next one.
Let me write a note to myself. I probably don't want to work with that musical director in the future because they're a little too fussy.
Exactly.
Just take note of it and move on with your day.
Chances are the people behind the table are going to probably be in the same mindset as you. So
yeah,
there you go. You don't have to prepare for the worst in those regards.
No, just
just the basics.
A general sense of I know what I'm doing. Here I am.
Yeah,
and that gets you pretty far.
Yeah, I feel like we nailed this.
I think so too. I mean, everyone out there should have the absolute perfect book by the end
pristine.
of listening
it's
to this podcast.
It's going to be glowing.
Yeah. We've just solved everything.
And you know what, folks? You're welcome.
Next world peace. How about?
God, that sounds like a lot, though.
Okay, we'll take a break.
Then we'll
next
think
week.
About we'll do that next week. That sounds like a next week problem.
Great.
Okay, great. Anywho, yeah, folks, there you go. That's your book. Once again, got any questions? Let us know. Comment, send us DMs, wherever. We're here for you.
Track me down.
Always. Don't overthink it. Be yourself. Make it easy for everyone. That's that. That's your book.
That's it. It's just like a calling card of you.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I do. This is what I feel good about.
Yeah.
Give me a job if you want. If not.
But also please do. Even if you don't want, I just need it. But here we go. Yep. We can only control what we can control. That wasn't English.
We can only control what we can control.
Moving on. Yeah, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for your support. We love that. We are your biggest fans. We're rooting for you. If you want to support us in other ways, you can find us on Patreon. Once again, folks, just general rule, we will not be gatekeeping any vital information on there. That is just for fun, bonus content, silly stories and whatnot, looks behind the pod, all that kind of stuff. So feel free to check us out there. You can find us always on most social medias at BA to Broadway. And then, Matt, where can people find you if you want to be found?
If you want to find me, your best bet is Instagram. Mm-hmm. Matty Wits is what I am. MATTYWHITS.
There you go.
Yep.
Okay, folks. Well, Matt, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Absolute blast. Literally anytime. You'll be back for
what
sure.
What a pleasure. This was a joy.
Amazing.
In your gorgeous apartment.
Thank you. Thank you. She's cute. I like her.
She's cute.
I'm going to stay here until they literally drag me out of this building.
Absolutely.
So yeah, folks, thank you so much. Go out there and I don't know, book.
Yeah.
Do some great stuff.
Go forth. Use your book to book.
Book to book. Use your book to book.
We'll keep workshopping the hashtag, but
it's going to be the title of the episode, whatever it is.
Something.
It's just going to be book.
Book.
There we go. Okay.
Yep. That's it.
Okay, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.
Hey there, folks. I just want to give a shout out to our newest principal tier Patreon member, Apatha Carey. Thank you so much. We super appreciate you. From BA to Broadway is created, produced, and edited by Brennan Stefanik. Music by Dylan Kaufman and cover art by Jordan Vongsithi.